Hello and welcome to the Monday, February 10th, 2020 edition of Tesla Daily, unofficial Tesla podcast. My name is Rob Maurer. Today we are talking about Tesla's Gigafactories, a Tesla Company Day in April, Model 3 and Model Y air suspension, and some news from competition. Tesla stock on the day today did finish up 3.1% to $771.28. That compared to the NASDAQ, also with a strong day, up 1.1%. First up, we do have multiple reports today of resumed activity at Gigafactory Shanghai, though it does not yet appear to be full activity, simply partial activity at this point, with Japanese publication Asahi.com reporting that, quote, on February 10th, only about 40 shuttle buses, compared to the usual 100 or so, took employees to the factory, according to a driver, end quote. They also shared a statement directly from that driver who said, quote, employees who have returned from outside the city cannot come to work because they are required to be quarantined for 14 days. Those who came to work today are only a portion of the employees who do not need to be quarantined, end quote. I've read that people are being encouraged to use individual transportation, so personal vehicles rather than public transportation. So that could be impacting the shuttle bus volume a little bit. But of that 60% or so that is not present on the shuttle buses compared to an average day, according to this report, my guess would be that the majority of that portion of workers is unavailable rather than traveling via personal transportation. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any news on this, but it does look like despite this restarted activity, there will still be a lingering impact for at least some period of time. Other major manufacturers like LG, Daimler, and Ford also restarted production, but I would imagine similar impacts there. So this does have potential to impact Tesla throughout the supply chain as well. Next up today is a report on Gigafactory Buffalo, so Tesla's solar Gigafactory. Local radio station WBEN spoke to Assemblyman Sean Ryan after he toured Gigafactory Buffalo on Friday. Ryan had a few positive comments to share, saying, quote, the factory is built out, it has complete lines running, product moving around, people are there, so it's really transformed itself into what we've been hoping for. I have to report I was pleasantly surprised, end quote. Ryan's last visit was about 15 months ago, saying that at the time there was a lot of empty space and that parts of the factory looked more like a warehouse, but he said today that there are dozens of lines with people working on them, adding, quote, we've been holding our breath since we put that big bet down on Tesla. They had a slow start and I was worried as we're approaching the spring they were going to hit their deadlines, but they're right on track, end quote. Very nice to see those positive comments on Gigafactory Buffalo after it has been much maligned over the past couple of years after the SolarCity acquisition. But as Elon has talked about, that period of time, everything was focused on getting the Model Y program up to speed. So this is not only a positive sign for Gigafactory Buffalo, but a sign of health within Tesla's business that they can now put a little bit more focus onto these other projects. The Tesla Twitter account and Elon over the weekend were doing a bit of promoting of the solar roof and shared a little bit of news saying that, quote, Europe and China timing will be announced soon, end quote, and that more color options would be, quote, coming hopefully later this year, end quote. I'm sure Tesla is fine for demand on the solar roof, but the fact that they are out there promoting it a little bit can't be a bad sign for the production outlook for the product, especially when taken in tandem with the reports of high levels of activity at Gigafactory Buffalo. The fact that we didn't get more specifics on the solar roof production rate on the Q4 earnings call was one of the disappointing factors for me, so hopefully we'll get an update on that in Q1 if production is at a good level at that point. Speaking of Q1 earnings, by the way, we're almost halfway through Q1 already. That is mind-blowing to me. A lot to look forward to here over the next couple of months, including a tweet from Elon today saying, quote, Tesla April company talk will be from our Giga New York factory, where we make solar glass and several other products. We'll also offer customer and media tours, end quote. So if you're confused about what company talk is, you are not alone. Everybody is confused about this. Elon said on the Q4 earnings call that Battery and Powertrain Investor Day would likely be sometime in April. So that's the first thing that comes to mind given the timing, but it doesn't really make sense to hold Battery and Powertrain Investor Day at Gigafactory Buffalo where they don't make either of those products. So I really doubt it's that. The other first thing that would pop into mind would be a potential shareholder meeting, but those are generally in June, so the timing doesn't really make sense there either. Then the other expected event for April would be the Q1 earnings call, which should happen probably on April 22nd, maybe April 29th. But of course, that's generally just a shareholder letter and an audio-only call, so that's also probably not it, leading us to then speculate that this is probably its own new event. Hopefully we'll get some more communication on this because that would mean Battery Powertrain Day in April, Q1 earnings call in April, and then this new company talk event at Gigafactory Buffalo also in April. That's a lot. Since the last episode with Matt Joyce, we just spent a lot of time talking about the Q1 headwinds. Some people have commented that maybe Tesla is positioning some of these things to ease some of the reaction, maybe to poor sequential results financially from Q1. Maybe. I doubt Tesla's thinking about that too much in terms of the timing, and I would also say it's probably better to position things like that coming off a period of strength rather than a period of weakness. You're going to get a lot more credit if you're coming off strength. For example, just look at Tesla's Autonomy Day last year. I think it's much more likely that Tesla is simply positioning those events for the timing that makes sense for them individually based on what they're discussing. But to the point about downside protection for the stock, yes, those definitely can have an impact, and I wouldn't necessarily equate them exactly the same as Autonomy Day last year, because regardless of Q1 results, Tesla has done a lot over the last 6 to 9 months to restore that credibility and improve sentiment. So even if Q1 results are a little bit weaker, they'll still be able to get more credit this year for things they announce in terms of future plans than they would have last year at this point in time. Plus, the subject matters being discussed are inherently different. Tesla has a much more proven track record on powertrains and batteries than they do on autonomy. Plus, I think these are just more easily understood subjects that can then be used in projections going forward, unlike something that's a little bit more abstract and unknown, like autonomous driving. Next up today, I wanted to briefly touch on the Model 3 air suspension. Obviously, that does not exist currently, but it did show up in a parts catalog by Tesla, so there was a lot of speculation based on that today that a Model 3 with air suspension would be coming soon, and by the transitive property, also then a Model Y air suspension may be coming soon as well. However, Elon did reply to Teslarati's article on the matter, saying, quote, "This is incorrect. No air suspension planned for 3/Y, only S/X, and Cybertruck have/will have air suspension," end quote. All right, so I guess that puts that subject matter to bed pretty quickly. I would imagine that Tesla wants to keep production simplicity as high as possible on those higher volume vehicles. Next up today is some news on Jaguar and Daimler, with the Times UK reporting that Jaguar is halting production of the I-PACE, quote, "for a week from Monday next week because of a shortage of lithium-ion batteries," end quote, with Jaguar Land Rover actually themselves saying that they have, quote, "adjusted production schedules of the I-PACE in Graz due to temporary supplier scheduling issues," end quote. And then on Daimler, German publication Handelsblatt is reporting that Daimler will announce tomorrow plans to reduce their workforce by up to 15,000 employees. This isn't entirely new. Daimler had said in the past that they plan to reduce the workforce by 10,000 or more, so it looks like we're just getting a more firm number and plan now. And the report was pretty loosely translated, but it sounds like to me they will try to avoid layoffs where possible, instead offering incentives to get people to leave, early retirement, and things like that. Last quick thing for today, which I hope to revisit tomorrow, Alex Voigt, who covers Tesla and other electric vehicles out of Germany, is reporting that there are some rumors circulating that Herbert Diess may be out as VW CEO. Obviously, there's no confirmation on this rumor at this point in time. That's why I'm kind of just throwing it in at the end here, just to kind of keep it on people's radar, and if it comes to pass, we will definitely be discussing it more. That is it for today then. As always, huge thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for the Tuesday, February 11th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.